Hello, children. I hope you all are taking good care of yourself as well as your studies. Today, we will start a new lesson that is India Wins Freedom. Children, in a previous lesson, we discussed about our struggle for freedom and also we learnt about INC, that is Indian National Congress. Indian National Congress came into existence to create a platform for the dialogue between British and India because they wanted to get something good from the British government for India. During the early years of its freedom movement, the Indian National Congress had achieved limited success. The early leaders of Indian National Congress were known as moderates. They basically believed in pleading with the English government for reforms. Dadabhai Nauroji and Gopalakrishna Gokhale were the moderate leaders, as you can see in the pictures. These were the two moderates of Indian National Congress. Another group of leaders were formed within Indian National Congress who wanted to strongly oppose the English. They were called the radicals. They were in favor of organizing strikes and doing the boycotts. Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Bipin Chandra Pal were the three popular radical leaders. As you can see them in the below pictures, these were popularly called as Lal Bal Pal. Children, you must have heard about it. Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. This is a very popular slogan which was given by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Partition of Bengal. Before we move to discuss partition of Bengal, we all should remember that in our last lesson towards freedom, we discussed certain policies that British government wanted to implement on Indians. So, one of the policies that they applied was divide and rule. They divided Bengal into East Bengal and West Bengal. That is where partition of Bengal came into existence. In 1905, the English wanted to make partition of Bengal with one part having large Hindu population and the other part with Muslim population. The British wanted to make partition of Bengal to divide the Hindus and Muslims from unitedly fighting against the British. Yes, that is what they wanted to do. The main reason for the partition of Bengal was to divide Hindus and Muslims so that they cannot fight against the British as one hand. People strongly opposed the partition of Bengal and it led to the launch of Swadeshi and boycott movement. As a result, the British were forced to reunite Bengal in 1911. Now let's see what is Swadeshi and boycott movement. The meaning of Swadeshi is of one's own country. People were forced to boycott all the foreign goods and use only the goods made in India. Yes, that is the movement that was started where all the people in India at that point of time they were asked not to buy any kind of foreign goods but to use only goods that were made in India. Swadeshi movement was started to popularize the use of Indian made goods so that Indian industries could prosper. At that point of time, Indian industries were not making much profits because lot of people were using the products that was coming from British. That's the reason the Swadeshi movement came into play because they wanted people to make use of Indian made goods. Foreign goods were burnt. Large number of women and students took part in Swadeshi and boycott movements. The movements were started in Bengal and it spread across the whole country. The British government tried to suppress the movements in various ways. So children, whenever you come across Swadeshi movement and somebody asks you, do you know where did this movement start? Yes, it started in Bengal and then it spread across the whole country. Now let's have a look at the revolutionaries. Few young people from Bengal, Punjab, and Maharashtra thought that the moderates and radicals could not achieve in driving out the British from India because both moderates and radicals had a different ideology. Moderates were in favor of the British government, while radicals totally opposed the British government. So they never came to the same conclusion as to how do we fight British and how do we drive them out from India. That is why few people from Bengal, Punjab and Maharashtra thought that we need to do something else so that we drive British from India. They wanted to drive out the British from India by forceful methods and they called themselves as revolutionaries. They were willing to sacrifice their lives for the country. Arvind Ghosh, Ajit Singh, Khudiram Bose, and Veer Savarkar were few of the early revolutionaries. They killed some British officers. Later, some of them were arrested as well and were hanged by the British government. Children, can you identify the person in this picture? Yes, he is Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi or Gandhiji was born on 2nd October 1869 in Porbandar, Gujarat. Children, you know that 2nd October is an Indian national holiday. It was the birthday of Mahatma Gandhi. His real name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He was popularly known as Bapu. He married to Kasturibai Makanji Kapadia in the year 1883. After 5 years, in 1888, he went to London to study law. In 1891, he returned to India to start a law practice. He traveled to Africa and spent over 21 years there. In South Africa, he also fought against the racist policies of white rulers. His method of fighting, which is often called as Satyagraha, was based on two principles, and the two principles were truth and non-violence. Gandhiji leads the nation. Now let's have a look how Gandhiji led the nation. He actually led the Indian nation. Gandhiji returned to India in the year 1915 and soon after returning he travelled across the country and was shocked to look at the poverty of Indians. He decided to fight not only against the British but also against the prevailing social and religious practices, mainly the caste system which was present in India at that point of time. He also asked people not to obey the unjust laws of the government. Now let's have a look at the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. On 13th April 1919, a public meeting was held at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar. General Dyer came there and ordered his soldiers to fire at the crowd. It was for no reason he ordered his soldiers to just fire at them. Hundreds of people were killed and thousands of people got injured at that massacre. This incident shocked the whole country. All national leaders strongly protested against this cruel act. So, this is all about Jallianwala Bagh. My dear children, that's all for today's lecture. In the next lecture, we will discuss about the remaining part of the lesson. Children, if you have any doubts, you can clarify them during the live online class. Thank you.